I'm Trey Baird, and this is Gossipin' Games. Today we're going to talk about The Walking Dead Season 7 premiere. It was so gory. It was so over the top. Oh my god, I'm going to stop watching right now. AMC, you have lost me as a viewer. You know this. But you keep punishing me. Your loyal Walking Dead viewer. You keep punishing me and millions of others. Or so the side would have you think. Is this an overreaction on the fans' part? The fans' part? Or has AMC crossed the line? What I've always found interesting about The Walking Dead is that it's a zombie show, but the zombies always play second fiddle to the real story. The real story is the human dynamic, the way that these people interact with each other. Essentially, society has had the reset button pressed. Everything had to be done from scratch. Just the zombie apocalypse caused the human beings to act like the animals that they really are. And they're killing each other, and they're at war with each other over the most trivial of things. And I've always found it interesting that the way to look at it is that it's a study of tribal behavior. It's essentially what Walking Dead is. It's herd mentality. It's how people cope with a threat. They band together. They create cliques. And that's why we have cliquish behavior still in the 21st century, even well after the fact that we don't need to form cliques anymore. It's definitely something that we're genetically programmed to do, is to be cliques, be cliquish, to form cliques. And that's essentially what The Walking Dead is all about. It's cliques. You know, you see the first seeds of this I feel like it's in the second season when it's Rick versus Shane, and the group starts to kind of split, but, you know, Rick makes it happen. He's the one who becomes the leader out of those two, and it all was sparked by an extramarital affair. So that's cool that the show starts off that way, because it's the same storyline, it's just evolved. The extramarital affair turns into what makes Rick the cold-blooded, ruthless leader that he is. And killing Shane is kind of his first step away from being that immoral bastard that he has become by season 6. And you can't tell me that Rick and his group did not deserve some sort of punishment. Now, whether or not the punishment fit the crime is another story, because on one hand, it was very upsetting, very dramatic, it was just over the top in every way. But on the other hand, Rick and his group killed like 30 of Negan's people. I think it was 30, and Negan only killed 2 of his. So, I mean, there's lots of ways to look at this, and that's one of the things that I think is cool about this whole season premiere, is that it's generated so much discussion. And, you know, it's easy I can see the point that both sides are making. I mean, I personally found the violence to be edgy. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I have a problem with it, but I acknowledge that it was a little bit more than I'm used to seeing from the show. At the end of the day, I liked the storyline. I liked these episodes, and I think that, you know, years from now, when I'm going back and rewatching this series, I think this is going to be one of my favorite parts of the show, is season 6 and 7. With that said, I just can't abide the whole cliffhanger bullshit that they pull. As far as forming tribes go, it's always, human beings have always done horrible things to each other under the under the pretense of being tribal creatures. I mean, we're doing it right now with our wars. With modern warfare. And that's basically what war has always been, is just tribes battling it out. You know, perhaps I have an oversimplified way of looking at things, but, you know, that's just how I think. Maybe it is a little simple, but darn it. I mean, The Walking Dead has had all kinds of savagery, and this reflects human tribal behavior. Human beings are savages. And I think one reason that this current storyline is making people feel uncomfortable is because it does sort of draw upon the same part of human behavior that created this concept of slavery and indentured servitude. And that's basically what Negan has turned Rick's group into, is slaves, or indentured servants at least. You know, tomato, tomato, but whatever. I mean, we've seen pacifism, we've seen all kinds of things, and perhaps that's what's causing a lot of the controversy now. And you know, one last thing is that I like the storylines, but I don't necessarily like the way they're presenting them, especially the camera angles. I think that the whole Glenn dying in a dumpster thing and then coming back to life, their intention behind that was probably to treat it as some type of foreshadowing, which if it is, it may be foreshadowing, but it's not good foreshadowing.